Hello and welcome to You So You. My name's Zoe and this is my channel all about the crafty bits and pieces that I get up to. And today we're going to talk about Sew My Style for May and what is coming up in June. So let's get started. Okay, so for those of you who are not aware, Sew My Style is an annual challenge amongst the sewing community where you receive a discount on 2 patterns every month and you get to choose which one of those patterns you want to make, or you can make both or neither if you want. It's completely casual and up to you. On the last day of every month you post your make to Instagram and then they do a prize draw for a different sponsor each month. For May it was Spoonflower, I think, that was sponsoring it. They certainly did 1 month. There's lots and lots of sponsors, different one every month, and lots of designers get involved. I say 2 designers each, or 2 pattern companies each month. I will put the link down below to the Sew My Style website, which will give you more information on what patterns are what month, what's coming up, what's already been, how to sign up, and who the sponsors are that are offering prizes each month. Throughout the course of the month, you will receive 2 emails from Sew My Style if you sign up, one on the 15th and one at the beginning of the month, and those will contain the discounts for that month's patterns. The one that's released on the 15th will also include the discounts for the following month's patterns. The discounts are only available until the end of the month. So I say I'm not organising Sew My Style, I'm just participating, but the information to how to take part will be down below, the link to the organisers webpage. So for May, there were 2 t-shirt patterns to choose from. One was the Love Notes jersey, Love Notes game day jersey. Love Notions. Love Notes is a knitting pattern. Love Notions game day jersey, which is this one. And I opted not to make that jersey just because the other pattern I felt I would get more wear out of. The other pattern was True Bias, who I've made patterns from before, so I knew the sizing would be okay for me. And that was their Rio Ringer t-shirt and dress pattern, which is this one. And I opted to make the t-shirt pattern, which I am wearing right now. If I just stand up, you might be able to see the hemline. Yep, it just sits around the top of my jeans. I'm on my tippy toes here to get into the shot. But there we go, it sits just over the top of my jeans, so it's a good length for me. It's a slightly curved hem, but not too much. So it's like a gentle bottom to it. It's not too sort of straight across when you look at the pattern pieces, which means it sits nicely around the waist. And it's got contrast ribbing on the neckline and the sleeves. Overall, I'm really pleased with this. It didn't take me too long to sew up. I mean, granted, I didn't finish all the seams super neatly, but it's jersey, so I've made it in a mystery fabric that I got from Secret Santa many years ago, so I don't know what the fibre content is, but it's unlikely to fray. Just by feeling the fabric and looking at it and stretching it and playing around with it, it's unlikely to fray, so I haven't worried too much about neatening up the seams. If I was making this for somebody else, I probably would, but it's for me, so hey. I was a little concerned about the difference in weight between the ribbing and the jersey, the stretch fabric. I wasn't sure how that was going to sit, but I needn't have worried. It's actually worked out fine, and that's possibly partly to do with how True Bias has you put the bands on. You put them on the flat rather than in the round, and I always struggle with neckbands and that kind of thing when they're in the round, so I may well be taking that technique forwards into other patterns and adjusting them to put the neckband on when it's flat, because it was just so much easier to do. So that sits quite nicely. The alterations that I would make if I were to do it again is actually more to do with top stitching than anything else. I mean, my top stitching is not the best. I am not going to win any awards from the Sewing Bee or from anything like that for my top stitching. That's just a given. I need to do a lot of practice on that. But it asks you, in the pattern, it asks you to use a zigzag stitch to top stitch the bands to hold them in place once you folded them over, which is fine. if you like that sort of thing. But for me, it just didn't look right when I did the zigzagging. So on the sleeves I've done the zigzag. I just wasn't overly keen with how it looked. I prefer a straighter top stitch. So for the neckband, I used the same stretch stitch on my machine that I used for the seams. I have on my machine a straight stretch stitch. Try saying that a few times fast. So I prefer the look of that as a top stitching. So I will probably go with that option moving forwards, were I to make it again. Alternatively, when I did the hem, if you look, it looks almost like I've used a twin needle. I haven't. I've used a single needle, and I have a stitch that kind of looks a bit like a cover stitch on my machine, but I don't have a cover stitch machine, so I don't know if it's actually a cover stitch. But it's kind of like a U-shaped zigzag, and I've used that on the hem to keep that flat and to stop the hemline from going all wavy, and that seems to have worked really well. So I'll be using that in future on jersey fabrics as well. So overall, I'm really pleased with the way this t-shirt has turned out. I've already had a lot of wear out of it. I mean, it is a classic colour combination. But yeah, the top stitching I would change, and also where with this shoulder seam joins with the neckband, because my ribbing is a little bit heavier weight than the jersey, which may well be the case with most ribbing. I've not used ribbing before. This joining the seam here is a little bit bulky, so I would do a little bit more to reduce bulk in that seam as well, just to help that sit a little bit flatter. But yeah, I mean, overall I'm really pleased. I can see me making it again. I do have some jersey that is in a rib texture that goes really well with some polka dot jersey. So that may be turned into one of these in the future. I bought the jersey polka dots with a view to making a dress, so I may still do that. And the ribbed texture jersey I was going to make some vests out of, like some tank top type. In the UK we call them vests. In the States, a vest I think in the States is like a waistcoat to us, so not one of those. Like a tank toppy strapless t-shirt thing. But they may end up being one of these t-shirts instead, we'll see. That quite often happens. I'll buy fabric for one project and it ends up being something completely different. So that's May's Sew My Style. Moving forward to June, so obviously the emails have already gone out for the June pattern discounts because they came out on the 1st and today is the 4th. So that has already come out, but there will be another email on the 15th with those discount codes in if you want to sign up and take part from now onwards. The patterns for June are Sew House 7's free range slacks, so a pair of trouser patterns. A trouser pattern. Words. And the other pattern is the In the Folds Barclay skirt, which has only just been released. I will probably be making the skirt because I'm not overly keen on the silhouette of the free range slacks for me. It's not the style that I would normally reach for to wear, so I can't see me making those and getting a lot of wear out of them. Whereas the skirt, there's quite a few different options. There's 2 sets of pattern pieces, but there's also instructions on how to mix and match the 2 different views to get additional views. So I will probably end up doing a mix of the 2 different styles. I quite like the longer look of the skirt, and I'm obviously putting up pattern pictures here. I like the look of the longer length of the skirt with the side slits, but I do prefer having a waistband on my skirts, I found. I mean, a lot of my skirts have got facing at the waist instead of waistbands that I've made, but I think I prefer on my shape a waistband. I feel more comfortable with it in general. I'm not having to sort the facing out throughout the day and that kind of thing. So I'm thinking I will probably end up mixing and matching some of the features of view A and view B. But there are instructions in the pattern on how to do that. And there's also a mark on the pattern pieces as to where you need to connect those 2 pattern pieces together in order to get your additional variations. So there's tons of skirts that you can make out of this one pattern. So that'll probably be what I make rather than the free range slacks. And I think I have enough length of fabric in a relatively heavy weight that I got from IKEA a couple of years ago. I've got 2 meters of it, and I think it might just be about enough. I might not be able to do the longer length in it, but we'll see. We'll see what I can manage. And I have to have a look and see if I've got any other alternative fabrics as well. And hopefully I will get it made a little bit before the end of the month, because hey, 30th of May I made this t-shirt. 30th of May. It was cut out before then, but I actually sewed it up on the 30th. Nothing like leaving these to the last minute for a last day of the month reveal. But that does seem to be my pattern for Sew Myself so far this year. I haven't made a single one of them before the last week of the month so far. So that's my aim, is to make at least one Sew My Style project before the last week of the month. So yeah, so that's Sew My Style. I'm really enjoying it actually so far. It's given me a bit of focus to my sewing rather than, I feel like doing that. Having that sort of, this month I am going to sew this set up in my system, is it making sure that I am actually doing some thoughtful, planned out, considered sewing every month, which I'm enjoying. And it's introducing me to pattern companies that I haven't used before. I mean, True Bias I have used before. I made some trousers of theirs a couple of years ago, and the fit is great. So yeah, so I'm really enjoying Sew My Style, and I do hope some more of you will join in. If you're not already joining, let me know down below if you are joining in with Sew My Style actually, and how you're finding it. But yeah, so that's Sew My Style. We'll leave it there for now, and I will be back in early July with information on my June makes for Sew My Style, and looking forward into July. So until then, bye bye for now.